Hello and welcome. You're watching The Big Picture. I'm Ishan. Today we decided to talk about the ongoing tussle in Delhi between Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Now, they certainly seem to be on a collision course with accusations and allegations flying thick and fast. There have been a whole series of letters that have been doing the rounds. But what's the truth in all this? We decided not to focus on the politics, but on the legality, on the constitutional propriety. All these words are also being thrown in as far as this tussle is concerned. And we've got some of the best minds in the country to help laymen like you and me understand on what is the real basis of this tussle and the possible impact, because the impact, of course, in India is not just felt by one state, but given how our country functions, how the politics in our country functions, it certainly has larger ramifications. So to help us understand and answer all these questions, we are joined by Swaraj Kaushal, former governor of Mizoram and senior advocate. We are joined by Satya Prakash, legal editor at the Hindustan Times. We'll also be joined soon by KTS Tulsi, and we also have with us over here in the studio PDT Achary, senior constitutional expert and a former Secretary General of the Lok Sabha. I'll start with you, Satya. Just to put it into context for us, this entire tussle, I mean, aside from the politics, the role of the Lieutenant Governor and what the Chief Minister is alleging is rather serious. So just to put it in context for our viewers, what is this tussle all about?
Well, this tussle is not new. When Ms. Sheila Dikshit was the Chief Minister of Delhi in 2002, August or September 2002, that time India was in power in Delhi, and Mr. Advani was the Home Minister. Even that time this tussle was there. And Delhi government, of course, wants more power. But the problem is that Delhi is not a full-fledged state like Bihar, Tamil Nadu or say Punjab. Delhi is not a full-fledged state. And the constitutional amendment of, I suppose, 69th, Article 239AA, it clearly talks about a situation where the Delhi government will not have powers Delhi Assembly will not have powers to enact laws relating to public order, police and land. These three areas are no-go for Delhi Assembly. The executive power of the government will also be coextensive with this. So Delhi government cannot do anything so far as the police is concerned, law and order is concerned, and land matter is concerned. What the problem lies with the Rule 45 of the transaction of business rules, in which it has been said that this government, like Delhi government, can do this, can have these powers if there is an order issued by the central government. Quoting this, Kejriwal is claiming that he has this power, but so long as this order is not issued by the central government, giving such power to the Delhi government, they cannot do anything. So what Kejriwal is doing is, to my understanding, he is trying to assert it and trying to create a situation where the central government is forced to confer more powers on Delhi government. But given the fact that the central government is NDA government and BJP ruled government, and this is Aam Aadmi government, I don't think, had it been, had the Delhi government been, a BJP government, perhaps the NDA would have conceded more power to them. But given this situation where these two political parties ruling at the center and the other one at the in Delhi, they belong to different parties, I don't see a very immediate solution to this stalemate.
All right, Mr. Kaushal, you've lived in a Raj Bhavan, so you know in terms of the political pressures that often go with that job as well. But given that aside, is it about a legal sort of a tussle that is going on, or is it more about propriety, or is it just purely political?
See, I don't know what is it about. Somebody has gone on leave for a period of 10 days. And Delhi needs a chief secretary. And governor is appointing somebody as the chief secretary for just 10 days. It's not that he will continue for 5 years term or something. I think Mr. Kejriwal should accept this. 10 days is not going to make a huge difference. And what is it that the LG has done? A very senior officer of 84 batch has been appointed. Heavens will not fall in these 10 days. And you know, it's all about proprieties. You saw Sheila Dikshit's government for so many years. For 5 years, it was under the NDA role. I don't think such a situation arose. Mr. Madanlal Khurana was Chief Minister with Narasimha Rao ji as the Prime Minister. Such a situation never arose. This is not done. You don't lock the rooms of the IAS officers. This is something that the Chief Minister should not be doing. You cannot have confrontational or agitational approach. Politics is all about taking people along. And this is something that the Chief Minister should understand.
All right, but Mr. Achary, is this something that the governor or the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi in this particular case should also understand, that politics is all about taking everybody along? And after all, the Aam Aadmi Party is a democratic, I mean, Arvind Kejriwal is a democratically elected Chief Minister, and he got a thumping majority to govern Delhi.
See, there can't be two opinions about the fact that there should be a harmonious functioning between the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister.
Right.
And the people of Delhi expect that. Yes, you are right, that the Aam Aadmi Party got the mandate of the people of Delhi. It's an overwhelming kind of mandate. So naturally, they think that they have a certain right to govern the way they want and all that. But here, you know, as Dr. Kaushal was saying, you know, the question about the appointment of Chief Secretary, that became a bone of contention, you know. And then there were differences between the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister and all that. In fact, see, when you look at the constitutional provisions relating to the Delhi and also the National Capital Region Delhi Act, which was passed in 1991. The constitutional provisions and this act, they actually have laid down the framework within which the governance of Delhi has to be carried on.
Right.
If you take a look at the constitutional provisions and also this act, you'll find that a certain clear demarcation has been made with regard to the powers which the elected government will enjoy and the discretionary powers which have been vested in the Lieutenant Governor.
Right.
Now, land, as Satya Prakash has said, the land, police and the public order, these are things which are reserved for the governor, and the elected government has no role in managing these areas.
Right.
But at the same time, if you take a look at the constitutional provision, that is 239 AA, I think.
Right.
Then it's very clearly said there that except these areas, the powers of the state government, I mean assembly, the legislative assembly, you know, they have, their powers extend to all the subjects in the state list and also in the concurrent list.
Right.
Now, if you look at the section 44 of the National Capital Territory Act, you know, which says that the President shall issue the transaction of business rules. Now, transaction of business rules are issued by the President, which deal with subjects on which the Lieutenant Governor acts on the advice of the government, of the Council of Ministers. And there, the appointment of Chief Secretary is also mentioned in that transaction of business rules. It says that prior reference has to be made to the central government before proposals of appointment of Chief Secretary, etc., are put up. This has to be done by the Lieutenant Governor. Now here, you know, the Lieutenant Governor, where does this proposal emanate from?
All right.
Does it emanate from the Lieutenant Governor's office or does it emanate from the ministry? Because you know that the transaction of business rules relate to issues on which the governor acts only on the advice of the government, or the ministry, the Council of Ministers. So that means the Council of Ministers is also involved in the process of selection of an officer of the level of Chief Secretary.
Absolutely. That's what, in fact, the Delhi Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung has said, that the file was sent to Arvind Kejriwal, to the Chief Minister's office. He sat on it for that duration, for 40 hours, I believe.
Well, I will make one point clear, that the Article 239, I think AA,
it clearly says that when there is a difference between the government and the Lieutenant Governor, then the Lieutenant Governor shall refer the matter to the President. On any matter, differences can arise on any matter. And when the differences arise, the Lieutenant Governor can refer it to the President, shall refer it to the President. But it also says that during the pendency of the decision, the Lieutenant Governor feels, if he feels that there is an urgency about taking that decision, so he can take a decision immediately. That is also there. So both the things are there in this particular article.
All right, so then it comes down to interpretation, and that, of course, we are seeing that wide difference of opinion come in. The collision course that Delhi Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal are on. We're talking about that, and we're also joined by KTS Tulsi, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court and Rajya Sabha MP. Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us, Mr. Tulsi. We've spoken about the basic bone of contention between the two leaders, but tell us, because as far as Mr. Kejriwal is concerned, I mean, one of the three things that he talked about was, one of the things that he talked about in a big way was that he does not have police under his control. Therefore, he can't guarantee the safety and security of the people of Delhi. So, is this also a political move, do you think? This kind of a collision course with the governor so that perhaps things can change, perhaps he can highlight the issue of that he does not have that much under control. So, in case you point the finger at him next time around, in case something goes wrong in Delhi, he's not just the one to blame.
No, I don't think so. The question is whether appointment of Chief Secretary of Delhi is a reserved subject or is it a non-reserved subject. Right. Under the Constitution, Article 239AA, the two reserved subjects are police and land. So, which means that on police, matters with regard to police and matters with regard to land, the governor has independent authority, unlike the rest of the Constitution.
Right.
But outside the sphere of land and police, the governor is as much bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers as in any other state. So Section 41, in fact, very categorically lays down Section 141 of the Delhi Act. It says that the LG can exercise his discretion with regard to matters outside the purview of the Legislative Assembly.
Right.
Now, appointment of Chief Secretary of the state cannot be said to be outside. It neither relates to land nor to the police. So how is the Lieutenant Governor choosing to exercise the matter in his own discretion when it is not outside the purview of the Legislative Assembly? How does the Chief Minister function? How does the state government function? How is any discipline maintainable? How can a democratically elected government perform its duties if even the Chief Secretary is going to be appointed by the Lieutenant Governor?
Right.
Lieutenant Governor has special powers only with regard to police, and the Lieutenant Governor is only taking advantage of the fact that any difference of opinion, there's a loosely worded provision, any difference of opinion will be referred to the President. Until a decision is taken by the President, the Lieutenant Governor, in case of urgency, can enforce his decision. But this is completely outside the scope of the personal power of the Lieutenant Governor, right, which could be exercised by him in his own discretion. The Chief Minister must have some authority. Why are we forcing a government to function in a completely undemocratic manner? Why cannot the democratic decisions be respected by the Lieutenant Governor?
All right, so you're saying that the Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung might not be respecting the democratic verdict over here, but yes, I wanted to come to you and just to add to that point, how, I mean, you've been a governor of a state, so how difficult is it to keep the political pressures aside? How difficult?
There are no political pressures.
There are no political pressures?
There is no political pressure. See, you are not dealing only with police and law and order. There is an All India service. And this All India service, IAS, IPS, is common to 5 entities. This is Arunachal, Goa, Mizoram and Union Territories. You supersede the whole batch and you say that 1984 all ruled out. I'll appoint somebody who is from 85 batch or 86 batch or 87 batch and so and so as the Chief Secretary. Can the government permit that? Can the LG permit that? And when it comes to transaction of business rules in a union territory, who approves transaction of business rules? The business rules are approved by the Lieutenant Governor. Now you say, no, forget the senior most batch, forget the 84 batch, I'll appoint my secretary as the chief secretary. Can you do that? See, you are governing an all India service also. It's not about the rights of the chief minister or the rights of the Lieutenant Governor. It's ensuring fairness even to an all India service.
It's a temporary posting.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Tulsi.
Yeah. It's a temporary posting for 1 week.
For 10 days. For 10
Why
days.
can the chief minister not have a person?
Chief minister will appoint his private secretary as the chief secretary.
For 10 days, the chief minister can't appoint.
No, he should not appoint his private secretary as the chief secretary. He cannot ignore the senior most batch. He is ignoring the entire 1984 batch.
All right, this argument is, I think, the one that will continue, of course, in the media as well. But Satya, it's simply coming down to, it just, I think, boils down to politics at the end of the day. I mean, the legal provisions are there, and the legal provisions hope that in good faith, everybody would be true to their office and would function towards the betterment of the larger good of society. But that larger good could vary from person to person. Is this just about politics, or is there more to this? Is this about Arvind Kejriwal trying to say that the Delhi should become a full-fledged state and he does not have that much control over the state? Is this about Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung making a political point as well?
No, right from the beginning. In fact, 10 or 11 days after Mr. Kejriwal took over this time, he had written a letter. And since then, there are various occasions he had some kind of face-off or some kind of differences with the LG, including on the appointment of transfer of senior IPS officers. He has been asserting that he should be, like Delhi government should be given powers so far as land, public order and police are concerned. All three issues which are reserved issues, he wants the power to be delegated to him. But law is what it is. Law is not what it ought to be.
Right.
What Mr. Tulsi said, it can be an ideal situation that democratically elected government is given powers so far as these three reserved subjects are also concerned. But so far as the provisions as on date that exist in the constitution, these powers are with the LG. And as pointed out by Mr. Achary, if there is difference between the chief minister and the LG, the call will be taken by the LG. So that way, it's fairly okay that the LG takes a decision. It's not about 1 day or 5 days or 10 days. It is about ensuring fairness. And Mr. Swaraj Kaushal has also pointed out that for 10 days, you cannot appoint your own personal secretary as the chief secretary of the government. It is a political tussle, of course, but then law is, in the process is yours. It's going for a toss. It cannot be done, and in a way, because the way it's escalating, I can foresee it's going towards a constitutional crisis, because now it's at, it has gone to the extent of locking the office of a senior IAS officer. Yes. This way, government cannot be run. Mr. Kejriwal is known for his confrontationist attitude. He is known for his activist approach. But if you are running a government, if you are a democratically elected chief minister, you will have to be seen as running the government as per the constitution, as per constitutional provisions. You cannot run it by your own whims and fancies, because ultimately, if this continues, the matter will go to court. Somebody will go to the court, and then the court will not interpret it as it should be. The courts will interpret the law as it is, because the courts are not going to change the law. Ultimately, if a parliament enacts another law or amends the constitution, then only these powers can be conferred on the chief minister. So far as current situation is concerned, Mr. Kejriwal should, I think, he should budge.
All right, Mr. Achary, as far as Mr. Kejriwal is concerned, he's also referred to Article 74, Article 163 and Article 167 of the Constitution. Now, as far as these articles are concerned, what my understanding is, from a very layman's perspective, is he's referring to provisions that are applicable to full states in his communication with the Lieutenant Governor. How is the situation over here different from what he's referring to?
See, Delhi is slightly different from the states, and that is clear from the various articles in the Constitution.
Right.
Delhi, although is a union territory, but it is little more than a union territory, but less than a state, somewhere in between. So the point is, Kejriwal as the chief minister, well, as Satya Prakash has said, he is an activist. He has an past of activism and all that. But when you assume the powers, assume the charge of a government, the responsibilities of a government, naturally, you have to function within the framework of the constitution and the law.
Absolutely.
That is very necessary for harmonious functioning of the government. And that is precisely what the people want. People have voted a particular party to power so that they would give them a governance, a proper governance. But the governance has to be carried on in accordance with the constitution and also the law. If somebody deviates from that, and well, it is a different matter that he wants more powers. In fact, I think all the political parties in Delhi, whenever they came to power, they asked for more powers because they felt that they needed more powers, or they were a little hamstrung and all that by lack of adequate powers. So that has been a perennial demand of most of the political parties.
Right.
When they are in power, of course, they demand more power. When they are in, all that kind of thing has happened in Delhi. Everybody is aware of this. But at the moment, there is a clear demarcation. As I said in the beginning, and as Mr. Tulsi has said, and also Mr. Prakash and Dr. Kaushal, the point is...
I'm not a doctor, but let me correct.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
Senior advocate, Supreme
Senior
Court,
advocate,
as well as
yes.
former governor.
I stand correct. I stand corrected. So, one has to remain within those limitations. That is the thing.
And those limitations are at the end of the day self-imposed. They're a matter of propriety rather than...
See, one more thing I would like to say. The Lieutenant Governor knows his powers, his role, and the Chief Minister also knows his powers and role. It's not that they are not aware of these things. But why this confrontationist approach? They should sit together and thrash out the differences. That is what is required. So that they provide a smooth governance to this state of Delhi.
All right. So I'm going to take closing questions, closing comments, because we just have about 5 minutes left, and I'll try to come to each one of you. I'll start with you, Mr. Tulsi. What's the way forward in this matter? Everybody's saying, come, sit down, talk. Both Mr. Najib Jung and Mr. Kejriwal should sit down, have a conversation, and iron out their differences. There's talk of going to the president. There's talk of going to the Home Ministry and suggest amendments in that transaction of business rules. So how do you see this matter heading forward from here?
You see, they will have to realize that the Lieutenant Governor, in respect of all other matters except police and land, is bound by the constitutional provisions, and he is to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers. The Lieutenant Governor does not seem to be a free agent. He can resolve nothing. It is only the Home Minister who will have to thresh out this issue between the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister, and then advise the President. There is no way that the Lieutenant Governor can reduce the Chief Minister to a cipher. After all, it is the Chief Minister who has promised certain reforms and certain programs to the people of Delhi, and he wants to implement them. If he can't even get his Chief Secretary for 10 days, what else can he do?
All right,
we are trying to, the central government can't be on a collision course with the Delhi Chief Minister.
Fair enough. Mr. Tulsi, thank you for that. Mr. Kaushal, is it not just about the Lieutenant Governor? Is it also about the central government on a collision course? And how do you see the matter heading from here? I mean, do you agree with Mr. Tulsi?
Kejriwal needs counselling. He was Chief Minister even when he sat outside the Rail Bhavan and said, I don't have to ask Shinde, where do I sit? Shinde is to ask me, where does he sit? That has been his approach. So he needs counselling. He has sought time with the President. And let me also refer to this officer. Somebody from Northeast, a girl, a lady, has put in 31 years of service. And what do you allege? Without a show cause notice, without any basis, you say somebody is an agent of the electricity companies. Is that fair to somebody's service? It would have been a great day if somebody from Northeast was the Chief Secretary of Delhi. On regular basis, forget 10 days.
Right.
So he needs counseling. He has sought time with the President. I think high time that the President gives him time and tells him how to go about it. You know, that you have ceased to be agitator. You know, you are the Chief Minister.
Satya, final word to you.
Well, if I were in his position, I would have done this in the last year of my government. Then you can sacrifice your government and win the election. This is politically unwise to do this in the first year of the government. In fact, in the first 6 months.
Perhaps he's feeling really shackled by...
Because he did it, it is not just IAS. He did it in the case of transfer of IPS officers. And prior to that also. So it is his habit. He needs to change his habit, because while sitting in the government, you cannot behave like opposition.
All right.
He should know how to govern, because if he does this, he is going to lose out heavily. So in terms of his political
the political capital that he is simulated
because
with
this way
election.
Most of the people will get frustrated because this guy is like this. So now there is a serious serious question of him being branded as agitationist, and next time I'm afraid he may not be given this mandate.
All right, Mr. Achary, final word to you. We just have about 30 seconds. So ultimately the President would have to prevail, do you think?
Naturally, under the Constitution, the President, the matter will be referred to the President. The President has to take a decision on this. President means the government of India will take a
he can, when he goes to Rashtrapati Bhavan,
but as I agree with Mr. Kaushal that a little counselling is required.
Yes.
All right, a little bit of counselling, a little bit cooler heads. I think we have a long way to go.
To tell Mr. Kejriwal that he is the Chief Minister.
All right, Mr. Kejriwal, the Chief Minister, Lieutenant Governor of Delhi is Najib Jung, and they are on a collision course. Whether they'll collide or not.
And even in a state, the transaction of business rules are subject to approval by the governor.
All right.
And mind you, this is a Kendriya Shasit Pradesh.
Yeah, that's the thing. So Delhi is a little bit of a special scenario as well. Therefore, you have this entire matter that we discussed for the past half an hour. What did you think of it? Do write in and do tell us. I'd like to thank all my guests for coming in. It was a pleasure to have all of you on the show. We've absolutely run out of time. So I'll quickly wrap up and we'll see you tomorrow, same time. Thanks so much.